My name is Katie, and I'm a full-time student at Notre Dame of Maryland University. I'm a pretty typical student. I have lots of friends, and I'm pretty involved. I even joined a sorority. I'm really involved in my sorority. Next year, I'm going to be president. It keeps me busy, and there's lots and lots to do. I'm a double major, and I seem to be pretty involved within my departments too. On top of that, I work 2 jobs. One for a golf course, where I run the beer cart. I get to meet celebrities, I'm outside in the sun a lot, and it pays the bills. They're pretty good to me, and I work with great people. I also work for a cosmetics company inside of a mall. It's retail, and it's on your feet a lot, and it can be some interesting hours. But one of my best friends is my manager, and I have a really great time, and I believe in the ethics of the company. I'm pretty busy, but on top of that, I forgot to mention, oh yeah, I'm a mom. Hey Archer, what does that say?
Shed.
Can you hold it up for me?
It says.
Oh, flip it over. Flip it over.
It says I love you.
When I was a little girl, growing up, my mom was a stay-at-home mom. And she, that was her job. And for a lot of stay-at-home moms, that is still their job. And it's a tough job. And she really instilled this whole idea of never depend on a man for financial security and stability. And that's intimidating. That idea of not being a partner financially and in security with your husband or with the person that you choose to spend the rest of your life with, that's a lot of pressure. So that pressure increased when about 3 years ago, I lost my full-time job working for a plastic surgeon. We as a family lost about 50% of our income. We had just signed a contract to have Archer in an elite preschool, and we were devastated. So when we finally figured out that I could go back to school and get a degree, it was like part of my life purpose came back to me. I had a job from the age of 14, and before they could legally pay me, I volunteered. But my mom stayed home, and my dad was the kind of dad that worked 80 hours a week, 2, sometimes 3 jobs, just to support us. And I inherited my work ethic from my father. I go crazy if I don't work and feel like I am providing financially for my family. Except one of the things that they don't tell you is how hard it is to be away from your kids so much. I work between the 2 jobs about 40 hours a week. I'm at school with a double major for about 20 hours per week. I'm in the car for about 2 to 3 hours a day, just commuting to and from school and back and forth to work. And then I get about 5 hours of sleep after homework every night. So instances like this, where I get to take time and just make dinner with my son, are few and far between. Most of the time, I see him 5 or 6 days a week for about 45 minutes. If I want to spend quality time with him, I have to take a day off of work, which means that it becomes financially stressful and strapping. It's so hard to balance. What I didn't realize is when you have a kid that you're, I don't know what you want to call it. I don't know if it's like your soul or your body or your mind. It has like this fight with itself about what's more important. And is it family? Is it money? Is it your career? And that's hard to answer. Despite my frustration and despite my overall sadness of not getting to see my son, I know that I'm pushing forward, and I know that I'm doing the right thing, and I know that eventually it'll all pay off. It just seems like I get stuck in this cycle of doing homework and
pushing through 40 hours of 2 semi-shitty jobs.
So, this is what I do. I sit on a beverage cart and feed people alcohol and drive around. And that's what I do for 8-9 hours in the outdoors.
I ended up going back to school because I couldn't get a job. I got let go through no fault of my own from a job that I really liked. And spent months and months and months sending out resumes and going to interviews and couldn't get a job. And what was stressful was I had 10 years of radio experience under my belt. I had 7 years in the cosmetic industry under my belt. And everybody wanted a college degree. Everybody. I couldn't get a job answering phones at a doctor's office because they wanted a bachelor's degree and they only wanted to pay $10 an hour, which doesn't support a family, especially one with a little child that needs daycare, and daycare is outrageous. So one of my best friends actually suggested that I go back to school. And college was my dream. I wanted to go to college so bad, and I had fallen into radio through kind of being at the right place at the right time and having talent and all of these things that, people tell you that you have and that will make you so good in the industry. And what I didn't have was the schooling and the application of what a bachelor's degree really means. And what a bachelor's degree really means is that you have the ability to devote 4 years to do nothing but prove to other people that you're smart.
Financially, I have to keep my 2 jobs. We couldn't pay rent and support Archer School without it. And I'm too far into school to just quit and find some sort of random job that's never going to get me any further in life. And I always have to sit back and think, what is that going to teach my son? That the importance of school can be tossed away because you have to justify making money at that point in time. I want to be a good role model for my son. And I want to be there for my son. And there's no way of doing both right now. And it kills me. And it just is what it is. There's no way to change it. But it's a constant thing in my life. And I just fear that he's going to get old enough and he's going to look back at this time and see daddy always in the picture and never see mommy. And he's going to wonder or hold it against me or end up with a drug problem or something because mommy wasn't around when he was little. And I missed so much with him.
My dad and I have the same work ethic. We do what needs to get done to provide for our families. And when he calls me, I can hear it in his voice when I tell him, oh, I'm on my way into work, or oh, I'm on my way into school. Or I can hear it in his voice how sad that is for him to hear. Don't work too hard. How's my Arch? I'm sure he's good. He was good this morning when I saw him for 45 minutes before he left. It makes me feel like a shitty mom all the time. Little boys are supposed to love their moms. And I was so excited to have a boy. I didn't want a girl, I wanted a boy. And Josh gets to spend so much time with him, and he works so hard with him. And he is a tremendous dad. He's a tremendous dad. And there's some sort of like weird maternal instinct that breaks every time, you know, Archer gets hurt and runs to Daddy. He'll run right past me to go to Daddy. I feel like that stuff gets earned. You earn that as a parent. You earn that as a mom. And when that doesn't happen, I feel like I haven't earned it from my son. And I could understand that if I was mean or abusive or I drank or was a drug addict or something crazy like that, but it's because I'm not around, and it's not because I don't want to be.